Hey everyone, January 4th. This is the Left Hook and Lev Remembers, Wajahat Ali with the Left Hook, Lev Parnas of Lev Remembers. Lev Parnas was a former fixer, an inside man who did terrible, terrible things for Donald Trump. But he went to jail and he's come out since then and he's tried his best to make amends. And Lev messaged me, I think it was yesterday, and said, listen, Donald has dementia and or is dying. We have to talk about his health. And then, of course, Donald Trump decided to invade Venezuela, kidnap Maduro. I think these words are important. Illegally invade Venezuela, kidnap Maduro. The America First president, I think Lev has to return his FIFA World Peace Prize. And furthermore, today, Marco Rubio had a disastrous appearance on Meet the Press. Where he was confronted by all the hypocrisies. Apparently, it was to stop drugs, but Donald Trump just pardoned the ex-president of Honduras, who was a drug trafficker, apparently in the 25 count indictment against Maduro. And also, they kidnapped his wife. No mention of fentanyl, no mention of them stealing or oil. And then the second-hand woman of Maduro is now acting defiant. But Donald Trump says he would rather want her than Maria Machado, who has the support of the people. And apparently now we're going to run Venezuela until there's, I don't know, some transfer of power. But meanwhile, the Venezuelans are like, wait a second, we don't want to be a vassal state. And as that's happening, folks, yesterday, Katie Miller did the psychotic tweet where they put the stars and stripes over Greenland. And then today, Donald Trump comes out and says that we're going to take Greenland. We need Greenland. Who is we? And so before we started talking, I was reminding Lev several months ago on Lev Remembers and the Left Hook. We brought up this if you will, this clip in Russia, which was only translated by CNN. I think that was the only outlet that picked it up. Where on Russian TV, they openly said that Russia would get Ukraine,
Ukraine, Poland,
Poland, and I think one other.
the Baltics,
Yeah,
the Baltic
the
states,
Baltics, and that America would get Canada, Greenland, and
Greenland.
Panama. Right? They openly talked about it, and now in the last day and a half, the United States has threatened some sort of action or violence or invasion against Colombia, against
Cuba.
Cuba, already done against Venezuela, against Mexico, against Greenland, against Iran, and oh yeah, they've already bombed Nigeria. Allegedly, they've bombed ISIS, but the Nigerians in the village are like, there's been no ISIS here. So with all of that, and the fact that Donald Trump is clearly dying and or ailing in front of us, it's clear. Oh, now, one other point, and I think it's all connected, folks. Wall Street Journal yesterday couldn't even wait a day, came up with an article, which I'll link to, and I linked to yesterday, saying that by March, all the oligarchs and oil tycoons and venture capitalists have already planned a meeting to go to Venezuela. And then finally, Donald Trump, there's no, I mean, this is what happens when you have an old, demented man. You can't even stay on message. None of them can stay on message. He openly says oil. He's mentioned oil at least 5 times. So with
25
all
times.
that, I give it to you,
25
Les.
times.
Oh, 25 times.
25 time watch. He mentioned oil. Democracy zero, oil. He mentioned 25 times in his press. But first of all, I just want to, before we start off, I want to say something. This is a man that is dedicated to giving independent journalism because he's not feeling well. I could tell you he's under the weather. It's Sunday. He was with his kids. And, because we have some breaking news, he came out here and said, Lev, let's do it. Let's get to it. So please, folks, this is what independent journalism is about. So make sure you subscribe. I know we'll get to all of that promoting later on, but right now I want to make sure for all of you, stop a second, hit that button up there. If you subscribe to me, cross-pollinate, make sure you subscribe to Waj because he's one of the real independent journalists out there. I call him out when I see him the way I see him. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So I just want to say that, first of all. Second of all, where do we begin? I mean, there's so much to unpack on a Sunday. You can't even, so let's start
Well,
off
let's talk
first.
about let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about his health real quick,
Okay,
because I
let's go
do
about
think about
itself. Okay.
because I do think, Lev, what you and I have been saying for a while, and let's set this up because it's all connected.
Yep.
Uh, my fear was that as the people around him realize that daddy is dying, they're going to put Project 2025, which was a 4-year plan, into a 1-year, 2-year overdrive. And they're sitting there, as yes men, you're amazing, you're powerful, you're tough, even as he's dying. And so now a dying madman who's demented, who is angry at the world, whose appetite is never satiated, he's extremely dangerous because what we found out is he's so fragile that the latest reporting shows that he was pissed off about Maduro dancing and mocking him. And that's what put him over the edge. So a dying, desperate, mad king surrounded by sycophants is willing to watch the world burn. And that's my fear, is that he's perfectly fine burning the world before he dies. But your take, Lev, with his help.
Well, I'll tell you. First of all, you have been speaking about his health more than anybody. Even you've been every time we talk about it, you've been saying to me, "Lev, what do you hear?" And what I answered you is nothing, and that was disturbing. Remember, I kept saying to you, "We have leaks about this, we have leaks about that," but the fact that we don't hear nothing about the health, and I can't get anything from my sources, tells me even that there is definitely something wrong, and that's where we were. Then I got some more information saying that, remember, we also spoke of this actually on the left hook, and Lev remembers together about himself, how he was doing IV, that I heard that he was getting IV treatments. Didn't know for what, didn't know what drugs. That's why we were getting exactly where he was getting these bloody, what's it called? Then something interesting happened. The MRIs. They mentioned the MRIs. He's going to the MRIs. And we have an incredible community because we have people here from all over the world. And this is why this is such a great platform, because as I was doing a live one time with one of my subscribers, she came up and told me that she actually was doing an interview with a doctor, and they were going over something, and she mentioned a drug called Kisunla, so a drug, Kisunla. Her name is Kat. Give her credit for it. This drug is basically what it's used is they're using it as like through an IV infusion drug approved for early Alzheimer's and dementia related conditions. So that got me thinking. I started saying to myself, I mean, the patterns. Oh, I love her. There she go. Is that he or she? He or she?
That's the he. That's
He. That's.
Chotu. That's the latest one we got a couple just 2 months ago from the shelter. That's Chotu. He by
Oh, I
far
love it.
fearless, bold, and never eats everything, but a sweet,
Oh,
sweet cat.
oh my God, I love it. Yes, baby. I see if Daddy's busy now. I'll come back. Go take a bath. I'll see you in a second. I love you.
I just
Okay,
yeah,
okay, close the
I
door.
just gave my daughter's bath, so there you go. That's why
Okay, there you go. This is what it's about, folks. You're getting it live. This is real independent stuff. So anyway, so I started looking into it, Waj, a little bit more. I called some of my sources, and I started throwing some things out there. And so what I'm hearing, again, don't have full diagnosis as far as him dying, as far as like something extremely, but I did get confirmation that they are worried about, and he is getting some sort of treatment from either Alzheimer, anti-dementia, early prevention. And basically, if you take a look at some of the, first of all, the drug, this is why, like, if you take these drugs, they require regular infusions. That's why you see the marks, but also they require very careful monitoring, and they need MRI oversight. MRI oversight, which he started getting for neurological side effects. Also, they said you're going to see a lot of side effects like confusion. We see confusion all the time, a lot more than in the first one. Even I tell you, he's not the same guy. You see, he's totally different. You're going to see personality and behavioral changes, poor judgment, impulse control, memory lapses, slurred and disorganized speech, mood swings, agitation. I mean, you could take any one of them. I think they're all of them, and they would fit into Donald Trump on a daily basis of what he's going through, and all of these. So again, not a doctor, not diagnosing him. Do not have a piece of paper where I could say, folks, we have the smoking gun. But I will tell you from the good sources that I have, and just from uh, also doing my own work and seeing some of the doctors speaking to people behind the scenes. I'm going to tell you right now, yes, he is getting. That's where the intravenous shots are. It has to do something with dementia. Now, does it mean that he's dying tomorrow, or does it mean that there's other side effects and there might be other health problems? Absolutely, because you see like his cankles, you see the swelling, you see.
Both
So
hands now.
correct. You see both hands. So there's definitely also like I said, I'm not a doctor, but medication gives you side effects into all his age, his diet. A lot, people make fun of it that he's the healthiest guy, but I mean, I've been around him, and he does eat Big Macs all the time, McDonald's. It's not a
Well,
joke.
Lev, the Wall Street Journal
Coke,
article
Diet
that just
Coke.
came out, the Wall Street Journal article came out 3 days ago that interviewed him, that has him on the record taking this obscene amount of aspirin, because he likes thin blood. His diet of McDonald's, burgers, Diet Coke, the fact he exercise, the fact that he says he has great genes, the fact that Pam Bondi said his skin is now so sensitive that she apparently nicked him with her ring while doing a high five, which makes no sense. Like, who high fives like this? But okay, now they can't conceal both bruises on two hands, the cankles. And furthermore, what we've seen with our own eyes is that when they got him up at 6 a.m., he was barely awake to make the announcement. He was like,
You
he
see
was
him a
falling
lot of time
asleep.
dozing off. Yeah, you're seeing a pattern. You're seeing a pattern that, again, like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna get into a debate with people that are doctors that are saying it could be other things, and it possibly could be. But what I'm saying to you is just from what my sources are telling me, from speaking to doctors, seeing the side effects, connecting the dots. The big one was the MRI. That what struck me, and that's why, because I was saying it because I couldn't say, like, why is he getting MRIs, and and you have to get them, like, I think every 3 months to while you're on this medication. So you're going to see, we'll see the more of the routine, if he's getting MRIs, if this obviously the condition is worsening, and that's one of the things that you're 100% right, that why we're seeing such movement and such action, because they're trying to push the Project 2025 guys, the Heritage guys, the Russell Vaught's, the Stephen Millers, the names we keep mentioning to you. They are really pushing there because there's two things that are happening, and you hear it here. We talk about all the times. The media doesn't talk about it all. It's really ridiculous. You got a guy, that Dan Bongino, that was been there, is leaving, that literally zero conversation about. Susie Wiles wrote that major hit piece, and they said, "Oh, everything's fine. We love her," and everybody forgot all about that. Trust me when I tell you, there's major panic in Trump world because of those two individuals and others. They're not controlling the narrative. A lot of this, what we're seeing play out, his health, the push, also with Project 2025, has to also, folks, do with Project 2025, has to do with the Epstein files, which we'll get into, Raj, but it's all, I mean, intertwined, but his health is a major issue. You were 100% right. Stay on it. Keep talking about it, even they're not, because that's one of the reasons you see a lot of acceleration in a lot of the
There you
things
go.
that are happening.
That's the thing. It's about acceleration. And what's happening right now is Project 2025 is being put in overdrive because I think they realize they've overplayed their hands. They don't have the ratings. They don't have the people behind them anymore. So they're saying, okay, we have the power. Who's going to stop us? And they're essentially trolling every single institution. They're trolling the Democrats, who are extremely weak. We'll get into that in a second. But we've always said take them literally and seriously. And this is where, Lev, if I may, if I can just rant for a second, a
Please.
pox on the houses of every single individual who told us do not take him literally and seriously. A pox on the house of all the establishment pundits who sat there and said Charlie Kirk did politics the right way. Trump
Yeah.
had a racial trip up. He had a racial flare up. He's going to become presidential. Oh, Wad, you're being hysterical. Of course he'll leave in 2020. You have Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, the Republican Party will moderate after Biden wins. Marjorie Taylor Greene is an aberration. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene has come out and is being actually sane and sober because Nick Fuentes and the friggin' Groypers have taken over. People launch these people into the sun, forget about them, ignore them. These people were wrong. And these people thought they could get along because they thought, hey, this is how the game is played. I get my money, you get your money, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, I get my scoops. They were all part of the establishment. And because it didn't affect them personally, Lev, they were perfectly fine normalizing this criminality, this vulgarity. Now we have this raging, demented, dying Bulgarian beast who is surrounded by sycophants and the Broligarchs who are saying, who's going to stop you? Go into Venezuela. And folks, he told you all this. In Project 2025, there was an entire page talking about Venezuela. They haven't, Lev, Am I
And
being
it's not
wrong here where this is
no, it's
not a surprise?
and it's not just Venezuela. I mean, literally, I wrote about this, and if I can read just like a paragraph out of an hour before this, folks. If you haven't yet, go read this because while I was waiting for Waj to bathe his kids, I said, let me put this letter out because I was going to put it out later afterward. But definitely, you need to go read it. So he goes, and here's what my sources I write, and here's what my sources are telling me very clearly. Stephen Miller, Russell Vaught, and others tied directly to Project 2025 are pushing acceleration, not just domestically, but globally. This isn't about just attacking institutions at home. It's about reshaping the world old order while the U.S. is distracted and divided. The push for aggressive action against other countries, the escalation abroad, the attacks on science, education, civil service, and democratic norms, all of it is being fast tracked. Part of this acceleration is because insiders who know the truth are leaving. People like Dan Bongino, who understand the danger this has become, are backing away. Susie Wiles, who has spoken out in her way out. And at the same time, my sources are telling me there's a growing panic, just like you said, Wise, inside Trump circle about his physical and mental deterioration, which is pushing reckless, immediate action before control slips further. This is not strength. This is fear, and this is weakness. Just like Washa. I mean, literally, I
And wait,
wrote
we didn't
this is
consult notes. We didn't consult notes. I just pressed live with Lev. I trust the evidence of my ears and my eyes, folks. I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not Nostradamus. I've been following these people. I listen to them. I listen to their words. I read what they write. I follow the ideological sources and the infrastructure. These people are straight up white nationalists, white Christian nationalists, and also pro eugenics Broligarchs. They want to drink the world's milkshake. What unites all of them, the Stephen Miller, the Elon Musks, and the Russell Vaughts, even though they come from different angles, is power, whiteness, and wealth. Power, whiteness, and
yeah,
wealth. And now they realize this is our last chance. They have an apocalyptic mindset. They think everyone is woke. They look at the numbers. They feel like the diversity is overwhelming. They believe they're crusaders and warriors. And as such, this is the last moment to save America from the heathens, to save America from the invaders, and for Elon Musk to save humanity by getting all the resources for him and his Broligarch friends. And then, I'm not making this up, folks. We're going to talk about it tomorrow when I have Gil Duran and Jacob Silverman. If you don't believe me, they're openly saying this. They don't believe in humanity anymore. They don't believe in Earth. Earth is gone. So for them, they're like, we're going to breed through our seed the superior future human race. I'm not making this up. And then we're going to terraform and take our space rockets to Mars. And then we will create a utopia. That's the end game. So they don't care about the rest of us. They're drinking all of our milkshake. And before we get into them drinking the milkshake and the world of milkshake, we'll talk about Venezuela, then we'll get to Denmark, but also distraction. Because like you said, Lev, this is weakness. Trump is dying. He's physically weak. He's negative double digits on the economy, negative double digits on healthcare, negative double digits on immigration, negative 30 points on Epstein. They have no solutions, no outs. So all of this is number one, distraction, but also in furtherance of the end game. And Barbara McQuaid had this post yesterday. I want you to talk about it. Quote, it's hard to believe a president would time an illegal military attack to distract the public's attention. But yesterday, is the statutory deadline for the DOJ to release the report on the Epstein file production. Maybe it's just a coincidence, end quote. Lev.
well, first of all, before I respond to that, we have a lot of people here that right now are really worried and are saying, "What do we do? This is terrible." I promise you, stay tuned. At the end of the show, we are going to talk about because there are some bright spots. There are,
We'll get there.
a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to go over all of it. So just stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, and make sure because we need to inform you. First, information is key for what's going on, and then we're going to tell you what we're doing about it to save our democracy. So, I just want to start off. I'm sorry. Her quote again was what did she say again? Please.
Barb McQuaid. Barb was, who was
Oh, the
Michigan
timing,
law
the
school
timing.
professor,
I got it.
former
The
U.S.
timing. Yeah,
attorney. He's like
the
the
timing.
timing
Yes,
today
yes,
is the statutory deadline for the
yes,
DOJ to
yes,
release its
yes.
report on the Epstein file production, and no one's talking about that.
Yes, and that's very, we are talking about, and we're going to talk about, because also what's happening is tomorrow is January 5th. Congress comes back in sessions. And we, right before, a couple of days ago, we were talking about, right before the New Year's, how important is there's actually, I spoke to Congressman Raskin and others, and Rokan and others behind the scenes. They're already have impeachment paperwork. They're being drawn up with Pam Bondi's name all over it. The DOJ is completely in right now in a disarray. There's more. So they are, it's not just the deadline. They're beyond the deadline. They're breaking the law right now. And this is what right now is a unified message that is supposed to take place tomorrow. Tomorrow, folks, we should be waking up, and everybody in Congress should be like, all right, let's vote unified, give the gavel to the Democrats, and let's start holding people accountable. Let's get the subpoenas out. What's
They're
going on
not
with
going to
the
do
Epstein
it. Let him.
files?
They're not
Correct.
going to do.
Correct. You're 100% right, because this is why Donald Trump had this done. And I also, it's crazy. My wife told me on the first, I took a day off, and I wrote one letter on the first because I couldn't, because when I got the phone call, when I heard that Kushner, Witkoff were on the phone with Dmitriev, Putin, and Trump, and they were all literally discussing Maduro as a pawn, because folks, we're going to get to Venezuela in a second.
Forget the
He's,
Venezuela and Denmark. We're
yeah.
going step by step, folks.
Exactly. But he's a pawn. I right away understood that, and I wrote about, I said, this week they're going to go take Maduro out. I mean, because he needs to cover up for the Epstein files. He needs to shut this down, because this thing, he has lost control of the situation. The leaks are coming out. Too many people know the things that they're breaking. They're still. It's, remember, it's hard enough to do it if you were professionals to what they're trying to do, but these people are total incompetent
So
idiots.
incompetent.
And the unfortunate part is they're just like a wrecking crew. But all of this, they're leaving behind not just crumbs, but they're leaving behind, like, I can't even tell you what some of my sources are telling me. And that's why you see people like Susie Wiles that literally wants to get out of there. And the fact that they just came out and said, oh, we're Dandy went, where's Susie Wiles? Like, see if she's around. And you're like, she's gonna start pulling a damn Bongino soon. I mean, watch, and the incompetence and the crazy. It's is If it wasn't scary because of the people behind the scenes, like the Vaught's and the Millers and the people that are just really doing the policy, I would be cracking up, saying, I mean, they're gonna get fall out of the tree by themselves, break their. I mean, these guys are completely incompetent to what the way they're doing. Just think about this whole Maduro thing. I mean, we're gonna get into it, but the parading him around New York City with open doors, the videos that are being put out on the White House. I mean, folks, on the White House, where they say a website f around and find out, and you got. I mean, this is not normal. This is not. This is. I mean, and
So
people.
reckless, so incompetent. There's no consistency of messaging whatsoever. Even during the press conference, there was no consistency of messaging. I made the mistake. I thought he had mentioned oil 5 times. Lev is saying he mentioned oil more than 20 times. So it's about the drugs, but you just pardoned the ex-president of Honduras, who was a drug smuggler. It's about the people of Venezuela, but you threw Machado, who won the Nobel Prize, under the bus, because he's probably, I will guarantee you, it will come out that he's really pissed off he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize and Machado did. And then today, I don't know if you saw this, he threatened the vice president, the right hand woman of Maduro. And I want to get the quote here, where he is now openly saying, um, hold on, let me get there. Give me a second. Give me a second. There's so much news here. I want to get the quote. Donald Trump essentially told her to stay in line. And if he doesn't, he essentially cut a deal. It seems like he cut a deal with Maduro's deputy, who remains publicly defiant, but he's declared victory. But earlier today, he essentially threatened her and said she better stay in line. And I want to get the exact, here we go. If she doesn't do what's right, she's going to pay a very big price, probably bigger than Maduro. What? But then you said yesterday, we're running it. And then earlier today, Marco Rubio, in a terrible appearance on NBC's Meet the Press, he said the following: no, the U.S. Navy will keep up a quarantine of some Venezuelan oil exports to coerce Maduro's allies to open up the oil industry. A White House official said that's what Trump meant when he said that U.S. will run Venezuela, according to the Don Road Doctrine, which is how Donald Trump described it. So make that make sense to me. Everything I just said.
Well, I want to say something to you. I can't mention certain names because I literally worry about my safety because we're getting into a world now where, but there are people that have funded the Maduro, and I know these people very well that are involved in this whole situation that are basically when Donald Trump says he's running it, he really because he did cut a deal because the vice president is very close to one of Trump's very close donors. Very close. And I remember even back in 2019 conversations that if Maduro had to go, she would play ball and be with us. So the rhetoric that you're hearing and you're seeing and you're watching out there is all theatrical. You know,
Makes
there's a
sense.
deal cut. Second of all, I have to be careful how because this is really uh, N- this is not just also Trump cutting a deal with her. This was a deal cut also with the Russians and the Chinese. This is a major play that is taking place behind the scenes right now. Very major. You're gonna see things that are gonna lead. Besides, see what Trump again. The crazy part is Trump is getting out of it is he thinks he's covering up for the Epstein files. He's getting
Oh, no.
the Maduro announcement. And just think about it. The media is doing playing along, and that's why I wrote today in my Substack letter, do not fall into the trap. This has nothing to do about Maduro, folks. Maduro is a criminal. Maduro is a bad dude. Maduro is as bad as they come. Let them prosecute them. Forget about that. Concentrate on what Trump did wrong. Concentrate on how he got Maduro here. Concentrate. Don't sit. You know, when I sit there and put on CNN because I have to watch them to see what's going on, just to compare to see what they're reporting on or not. And when they're sitting there, spend an hour talking about the prison cell Maduro is going to be in, the conditions that the Maduro is going to be spending in. That's not news, folks. That's not. This is exactly what Trump wants to do because the next thing you're going to see tomorrow is, and I promise you that you're going to start seeing the Democratic leadership sticking up for Maduro. And that's the trap that is going to be put. It's not about Maduro. They need to. We have a unified. And because you got to understand, when you bring up Maduro, the Republicans and the GOP are going to start sticking together. And what is that going to take away from? Where we are unified, and that's the Epstein files. And that's why I wrote this letter, and that's why I'm going to be calling tomorrow morning, and that's why I need each and every one of you, make your emails, call your constituents, call the Democratic leaders and say, forget what's going on with Maduro. We will deal with it. The only way you could deal with it is if we get control back. The only way we could get control back is if we are able to get the gavel. And what me and Wash have been telling you all the time right now, what is his kryptonite? What is his Achilles cankles? It is the Epstein files. And right now, they are in default or they are in contempt. They are breaking the law. Right now, we have a unified message. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene. We have all of this going on. And that is why I'm saying, please, folks, do your best. We have over 1,500. Everybody that watches this, make your voices heard. Do not get away from the Epstein files. Forget this Maduro thing. He's a criminal. Let him go to trial. We will deal with what's it called? Because you gotta understand it. Nothing changed. They did not go take out the Maduro administration or the regime, all of the generals, I mean, and nothing changed. The only thing they changed, this was a internal coup that was planned by people on the inside with the Russians, with the Chinese, because Trump wanted Maduro so badly for the win. This was just, they gave it to him. But nothing, everything is still stayed the same. Just like when Trump was chasing that Venezuelan boat that all of a sudden put a Russian flag and we stopped chasing it. This is this type of same thing that is happening right now. This is a lot of theatrics, folks. But the number one thing we have on our side, and that's the hope that everybody says, what do we do? How do we? We got it. It's called the Epstein files. There's so much more in there. Do not get distracted. And it will lead into also the Russians, the connections, so much more. And that is right now what they're going to do everything they can because if they could force this, watch it, if they could force this and turn this into real problem and, maybe now go after Cuba, they will definitely do the Insurrection Act and they will definitely call off I mean, this will,
Yeah, yeah.
just think about this. You know what I want to quote one of my sources that said, he said, quote, Trump is acting like a rabid animal that has tasted blood. He said to, he goes, literally quote, he said, do you understand, folks, he ran on a peace policy and he has attacked. We has, as America in 1 year, no president has done this. We have attacked Iran, Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, and now Venezuela. That is
Nigeria,
seven, and
Nigeria,
Nigeria. That's 8 countries
and he's
in one
also
year.
in the last day he's threatened. Well, in the last year he's threatened Canada. In the last day he's
Right.
threatened Colombia.
Yeah.
He's threatened
He's like a
Cuba.
rabid
He's
animal.
threatened, he threatened Greenland. He's threatened Mexico, and he's already invaded Venezuela. So my take on this is twofold. Yesterday, I two parallel tracks. Yesterday, I think maybe earlier today or yesterday, I said on Monday, Democrats should immediately release some files from the tranche of Epstein estate files they have. They should release something tomorrow, folks. Everyone's going to be back from their holiday. Release something, some juicy document about the Epstein files. Put people's mind right back on the Epstein files, right? They should do it ASAP because you have to work. Think like a Republican, how a Republican will try to, like, Republicans are very good at culture wars, at distraction, at storytelling. So you have this story, we're going to talk about it, but keep the focus on the Epstein files where he's stuck, he's cornered, he cannot escape. He's negative 35 on the Epstein files, and over 80% of Americans across political aisles say release the Epstein files. And it's clear that this man probably raped girls, and the GOP would rather go to war with the world than release the Epstein files. So keep that. But to Lev's point, and I'm really worried about this. Now that he's tasted blood, and now that there's no accountability, and now that you saw the tepid, useless European leader, did you see him yesterday, Lev?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
all of them stuck from the teat of the same oligarchs. They all stuck from the teat of the oil companies. They all stuck from the teat of corporate America. And they're like, this will be good business for us. And I said, wait for it. Next day, today, he's going to talk about Greenland. Voila, today he talked about Greenland. So I'm like, all right, you weak, feckless, corrupt European leaders, well done. Because now he's openly saying we need Greenland. Translation, they're going to go after Greenland. They've been talking about it, folks. The Broligarchy's been talking about it. It is one of the most rich resources in the world, not just for geopolitical defense, but I'm talking about minerals, right? So you can control Greenland. It's a great strategic location. Russia wants it, US wants it, and then you just strip it. You just strip it, strip it, strip it. And the oligarchs have been wanting it for a while, just like the oligarchs have been wanting Venezuela. Now that he's tasted blood, and now that he realizes, oh shit, I can go in, illegally invade Venezuela, do a regime change, kidnap Maduro and his wife. Democrats, so far, completely pathetic. If you've noticed, Jeffries and Schumer, completely tepid. None of them have talked about the 25th Amendment. I haven't heard anything about impeachment. So, what we're going to get, folks, is he's going to go after Denmark. Excuse me, Greenland, which is actually controlled by Denmark. He's going to go, they're going to, Rubio told you, Cuba. They're telling you about Mexico because they don't like Scheinbaum. They're gonna green light by Israel. Do you see the really cryptic stuff that Israel did today? They turned over the hourglass. They're gonna try to go for regime change in Iran. China's gonna go for Taiwan. And this is why we need accountability. And Lev, I
And the
get so
Panama Canal too.
Panama,
I hear
it's
100%.
Cuba, Colombia. I get so pissed off at every single person that was milquetoast, that was weak, that was complicit, and that didn't fight. And right now, after I saw what happened with this and the Schumer and Jeffries response, Lev, we need to get rid of them. I mean,
No, that's what I
all
agree with you. And that's why, the only way we're going to do it is listen to what Waj is saying is by making our voices be loud and clear. Just think about when Jimmy Kimmel was thrown off the air. Our voices is what got him back on. Same thing here, folks. We just got to be loud and clear. Tomorrow, the number one thing that we need to happen tomorrow is we need to make sure that we're not sitting there and that every news station is plastered around there and every pundit on Substack is talking about covering the Maduro first appearance. Folks, it's nothing. Even if he's going to plead not guilty, it's a nothing, just like, but it's going to be an all day. If that's the case, then again, Trump is going to be, what we need tomorrow is just like Wash said, they need to start releasing the Epstein files. They need to start pounding it. The first thing they need to go tomorrow is when Congress goes in session, they need to right away get into and saying, we need impeachment on Bondi. Pam Bondi, they have everything already lined up. It's a bipartisan issue. They have the votes ready to go. Bring it back together, because right now this is exactly Trust me, folks, I was part of Mega. I helped build Mega. I speak to them on a daily basis. I know how they think. This stuff is where they try to, he's trying everything he can to unify something that's being torn apart. And the way it's been torn apart, and the only way we guys stay on message, it's like, Waj, they put horses when they run, they put racing horse, they put blinders on. So you can't look to the left or right so you could lake shit. This is what we need right now. Everybody needs to put on their blinders and concentrate right now until we get the result of the Epstein file. Don't worry about what else is happening because you can't stop it anyway. We can't stop him if he wants to go, listen, just listen to me carefully for 1 second. If he wants to go tomorrow and invade Cuba, there's nothing we could do to stop it. If he wants to go tomorrow and invade Greenland, right now, there's nothing we could do to stop it. The only way we can stop him from invading Greenland, invading Cuba, invading other places, is by impeaching him, getting strength back, getting one of the constitution out of the three back into our hands. At least one, if not two. The only way we could do it, the only subject that we have unification on both sides of the aisle, where the whole world, the whole country is unified, is the Epstein Files, folks. So I don't know how more passionately can I explain it. And I'm going to be making my calls tomorrow morning. I promise you, I will show you first thing in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I will be calling Congressman Jamie Raskin, Ro Khanna, and the list of others that I have on there to tell them the same thing. And I ask each and every one of you, get your emails, get your phones, do the same exact thing. Forget Maduro. This is not about Maduro. This is a telenovela. This is what they're trying to produce, a show, a reality, just like Trump said. They were sitting watching her. They're trying to do it for the people now to start another conversation to get Republican, pundits on Democratic shows talking about, well, you're talking about how we got Maduro, but Maduro is a bad guy, isn't he? And then and then
And so
getting
all the
putting
Democrats fall for it. Maduro
yeah,
was a terrible man, and he was like, "Shut that! It's illegal. It's
right. That's
illegal.
what I
It's a
say. That
distraction." Chris Van Hollen had a really good. This is distraction. It's illegal. They want the oil. It's for the rich. And I think the overall message, folks. And I know I'm sounding like a broken, whatever you call it. I'm old now. I can't even think about the exact
stop.
broken.
Don't say you're
Yeah,
old. I get
but look, it's the 1% versus the rest of us, the top versus the bottom, the majority versus the elite. Who are rich billionaires who raped girls and were not accountable? The people in the Epstein files. Who is Donald Trump helping? The Broligarchy. Who benefits from illegally invading and taking Venezuela's oil? Do I get a check? Have you gotten a check, Lev? Anyone here gotten a check? It's the rich people. I thought Donald Trump was America first. America first. This is America last. This is billionaires first. Who benefits from Greenland and stripping them of all their resources? Not me. The billionaires do. Who gains from invading Cuba and invading Colombia and invading Canada and getting all their resources? Not us. So it's us versus the 1%, and the 1% is who Donald Trump serves and who he's trying to protect. And we have to release the Epstein files. We need accountability. We need transparency. We need facts on the ground. Why did you go and get Maduro? Where's the fentanyl? Where's go after that. And you saw so many Democrats like Schumer and Jeffries. Oh, Maduro is terrible. Of course he's terrible. Putin's terrible. Donald Trump doesn't care. MBS is terrible. Donald Trump doesn't care. He writes love letters to Kim Jong Un, who starves his own people. These are all terrible individuals. And furthermore, it came out today that this was planned. This was planned long before. It came out that this wasn't just like, of seat of their pants. They had planned this for a while. And like you said, I really want to know about the backdoor dealings. This didn't just happen. So I'm very curious. The way it happened so quickly, I'm sure, like you said, most likely, folks, his vice president, Maduro's deputy, probably talked to someone in the Trump administration. They said, okay, we're going to go get Maduro. You're going to be our henchwoman. You're going to be the reek. Don't get too big for your britches. If you do, we're going to replace you. We're going to sign like Machado, right? We're going to go get the oil. Donald Trump feels good. He got rid of Maduro. And folks, if you looked at the latest reporting, they say that what really tipped it, what really accelerated this, was Maduro was mocking Trump's dance, and
yes,
I'm
yes.
not making this up. Trump, the reporting says that Trump got so livid because he's such a weak little bitch. pardon my language, that he couldn't stand Maduro mocking him because he's so fragile. He's so petty that he finally said, okay, I'm going to do this. That's what did it. And the reason most likely why he sidelined Machado is number one, probably couldn't trust her. And number two, because he's so fickle and weak that he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. Remember that? He got all the Republican reeks, Lindsey Graham and everyone else saying, you know
Uh,
who
uh,
deserves
uh,
it? Donald Trump deserves it. See, he made peace with Israel and Palestine. What peace? And then he gave himself the friggin' FIFA World Peace Prize. So this is how petty he is, folks. Now, the sad part is, now that he's tasted blood, folks, eyes wide open. Take him literally and seriously. This is the plan. They've been saying it. They want Greenland. They want Canada. They want Panama. They want to replace the leadership in Cuba. They hate the Mexican president. They don't like Colombia because the Colombian president's mocking him and ridiculing openly. He openly gave a green light essentially to Israel to do regime change in Iran. He just bombed ISIS in Nigeria. Sure thing. And they are now desperate. But like Lev said, the one thing they can't escape, well, the economy, it's in the shitter, but they don't care. Healthcare in the shitter, they don't care. Greatest wealth transfer in American history is about to happen thanks to the GOP billionaire bill. We're already effed. But the Epstein files, the Epstein files is the one thing in this sick friggin' country that I live in that elected this man. I can't believe it. America's so sometimes so self destructive. Where thank God, at least 75% of Americans, probably a little bit more, say, you know what? Raping girls and lying about it is a step too far. And so I believe a counter really, Lev. I mean, you got to, I know this is strange. People might think you're dealing with MAGA folks. You have to know your enemy, know your opponent. How do you get them on the ropes? Epstein files. And so, before you and I talked, I posted this. I hope Democrats who have the tranche of documents given to them by the Epstein estate, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, if they've got a whopper, one or two whoppers,
put it out.
as you're taking care of all these fires, I get it. You know, talk about impeachment, make the message about, I thought you were America first. Make the message about who's we running these countries. Make the message about, are you willing to support troops on the ground? Make the message about the rich people getting richer. Yes, yes, yes. Also release the Epstein files.
100% watch. And the other thing, I'm going to give you guys a little insight also, of how you could understand, because I always say, watch not what Donald Trump says, but what they're doing. Always got to watch what they're doing because a lot of, shit comes out of his mouth that his ass is jealous of. I apologize. But, you always got to watch what they're doing. I'm saying to you, you got to watch how Donald Trump is talking. And the one thing that you mentioned right now, Machado, right? You said, well, why did he put her away? Why is it common sense that he is dealing, obviously, with Maduro's regime? Because Donald Trump does not deal with honest individuals because Donald Trump is a crook. Donald Trump is a criminal. So Donald Trump will not allow an honest president in Venezuela because they won't allow Donald Trump to take over their oil. They won't allow Donald Trump to take over their country. They won't allow Russia that because democracy will. If we were talking about true democracy, it wouldn't be. It would be talking about let's as a world help Venezuela get on their feet, build their oil supplies, pay it back somehow. But it wouldn't be like, hey, we're going
We've
in there,
never
we're
done
taking it.
Central America or Latin America, ever. This has
Ever.
never worked.
No,
It's always been disastrous.
but that's why that's why I want to make sure that everybody stay on watch, and this is very important. And and this one I'm going with my sources to the bat for because I knowing the people that are involved, being involved very much, you gotta understand what's going on right now. And I'm going to repeat, this is all theatrics. The vice president, who is the current president, is very close to certain Trump donors that what I'm telling you, like this is going back 6 years, folks. 2019, when I was involved, the relationship, the conversations. Just take it for fact for what I'm telling you right now. Second of all, the Russians and the Chinese, you gotta understand, there is no way we are attacking the way, going full out blast war, this and that, with no me while the Chinese delegation is sitting there, while Russian people, I mean, people die if all of a sudden the Chinese delegation got blown. This is a coordinated plan that was worked out. Maduro was handed over to the Americans for Trump to get his win. So he could now parade him, which is he's doing, change the news cycle, which he just did, and try to take away from the Epstein files. That's all that changed. The country is still being run by the Maduro regime. It still has Russian and Chinese influence all over the place. The fact that now Americans are going to be going, these are not affair Americans. These are Trump donors, Trump loyalists, Trump people that are going to be going now into Venezuela and now cutting deals with corrupt government. The same corrupt government supposedly Trump was trying to get rid of, saying that they are all narco terrorists and narco dealers. Because it's not just Maduro that's a narco. Maduro and his wife are the biggest narco terrorists, but all the generals, all the defense ministers, you got to understand also, these are the same people that Maduro negotiated with me. I was on the phone with Nicolas Maduro in 2019 with Congressman Pizza when he was negotiating his soft landing. Part of the negotiation that he was negotiating with us is that he wanted to have a group of people. Some of those people are the people that are right now, which is his vice president, his defense minister, and others that would also get a soft landing. They would be able to take their money, get non-prosecution deals, and they would then leave the country and give up fair and square elections to happen. This is what was talked about. So I just want you to understand that they are all still in play. Nothing changed. Unfortunately, the theatrics that the people are running around, you got to understand, people in Venezuela hate Maduro. They've spread out because he is the face of the regime. But Maduro is just one person. There's still a regime. And if we truly want a democracy, we wouldn't have just came in there to kidnap Maduro in the middle, and I mean kidnap Maduro in the middle of the night. We would have came in there and we would have taken the vice president, the defense minister. We would have had boots take it on the ground, take it. This was all, again, theatrics because nothing changed. Everything is going into play. And here we are.
And folks, it's serious business also because even though they have a plan, the world also has its plan. There's always repercussions. There's always consequences. The world responds to a threat like this. You see Europe responding. You see also Denmark responding. I do want to quote, and these people, listen, if I'm Canada and Denmark and Colombia and Cuba, I'm having conversations about protecting my country, and I'm having conversations with allies, folks. This is the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, to the United States. I want to read what he said. It makes absolutely no sense to speak of any necessity for the United States to take over Greenland. This is where we are, Lev. Jesus. The United States has no legal basis to annex one of the three countries of the Kingdom of Denmark. The Kingdom of Denmark, and thus Greenland, is a member of NATO and is therefore covered by the alliance's collective security guarantee. We already have a defense agreement between the Kingdom of Denmark and the United States that grants the U.S. broad access to Greenland. In addition, the kingdom has made significant investments in security in the Arctic. I therefore strongly urge the United States to cease its threats against a historically close ally and against another country and another people who have stated very clearly that they are not for sale. Folks, I'm old enough to remember the war on terror. I'm old enough to remember the United States thumped its chest and said, "You're either with us or against us. It's us versus them." The clash of civilizations. I'm old enough to remember we did a blitzkrieg shock and awe operation, and we toppled Saddam Hussein and toppled his statue, and George W. Bush landed on the carrier. Mission accomplished. You remember that, Lev?
Yeah, I
And then I
remember watching.
remember and then I remember the rise of ISIS. And then I remember the people rebelled. And then I remember they didn't greet us as liberators. And then I remember the United States, it's great at shock and awe, but really bad at boots on the ground and regime change. And then I remembered over 1 million Iraqis died, and hundreds of thousands of Afghans died, and Somalis died, and all Pakistanis died, and all these people, all these Muslims and law enforcement who tried to maintain the chaos that resulted as a result of the United States removing all these leaders. I remember 20 years later, the Taliban went back into power, Lev. I remember anti Americanism. I remember that the people who actually benefited were, wait for it, the military industrial complex and private
Yep.
military firms like Halliburton and Blackwater that is run
Eric
by Eric
Prince.
Prince, who's the brother of Betsy DeVos and a complete psychopath white Christian
And
nationalist.
involved in a lot of the stuff that you're seeing. That's why I'm scared to mention certain names. And I don't talk. I'm not scared of anything, but
He's
there's
all
a
in it.
that he is definitely especially down here in South Florida. There's some major players that when the time is right, we will get it out, in the right forum, because this is real, real breaking. I mean, some really serious stuff that I was privy to. But I could tell you this is right now the most important thing. Again, I'm going to say it. I'm going to keep repeating it. Don't focus on Maduro. Forget him. Focus on what happened in
What
Venezuela.
happened?
Exactly. Focus on the fact that the regime is still there. Focus on that nothing changed. Focus on that shadow fleets, Russian oil is still going. Nobody's stopping Russia. We're chasing Venezuelan oil. We're not stopping Russian oil. Focus on that most important thing. And again, I know we keep saying it, but we're going to keep saying it until it makes everybody know exactly, Tanya. Epstein files.
Epstein
Focus
file.
on the Epstein files. Please, folks. And that's why we're doing this live, this Sunday live, especially to make sure that, and Waj wasn't even feeling good, not only to update you on all the craziness that's going on, but also because we are a huge community and we make a big difference. Because once we put this out, everybody's going to see it, and hopefully other journalists, we're going to share it. You guys are going to share it. Everybody's going to share it, because we want to make sure the number one thing tomorrow we need to do is we need to start saying, forget about Maduro. We don't care if he pleads guilty. We know he's going to listen. I could tell you already ahead of time. They're gonna go there. He's gonna plead not guilty. They're gonna put it away, and then they're gonna be talking about all kind of scenarios of what's going on. That doesn't help us. What we want to talk about is we want to start drawing up impeachment documents of Pam Bondi. We want to know where these 5 million documents came from. We need to understand why the names are being whited out. Blacked out of people of these child predators. Abusers. We need to understand what was destroyed, what was tampered with. We've had, spoke about Thomas Massey has come out and said, even, Ro Khanna, even, other congressmen can come out and threaten to go after Pam Bondi, because they're hearing the same thing I am, that not only are they tampering, but they're destroying certain stuff, folks. So this is what, if we keep our eye on the ball, I once said that, if I said Trump, the best way I could explain Trump right now is, if those of you that seen on in Manhattan on Fifth Avenue, you have these guys with these like little shell. It's called the shell game, and
Yeah.
they put a little ball under it, and they go there with the shell. This is what Trump is doing right now. He's the shell guy. He's sitting there. He wants to distract you from what really is happening. They're doing everything. They're invading a country. They killed over 100 people. Innocent people died, by this, in whatever you want to call it, kidnapping and stuff like that. So please don't let them get away with it, because that will be the biggest injustice. We need to keep our eye on the ball. Tomorrow's January 5th. Congress comes back in session. We need to put the pressure. Epstein files, put the emails out, make your phone calls out, put the pressure on Johnson. And I promise you, you are going to see Trump pissed off. You're going to see him flip. You will have him come out and do a press conference, say, you're talking about a hoax when we just did the best strike, the best. Do you understand? It was the perfect attack. We could take any country out now. We could take any leader out. We're the best. I mean, this is what he wants to talk about. Don't let him do it. Concentrate on the Epstein files.
Yeah, I just keep saying, release the Trump Epstein files. Release the Trump Epstein. I would recommend you guys say Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein. And I know this sounds silly, but the right wing is really good at this. Look, the right wing spent over $200 million to get Americans terrified about trans people. Does anyone talk about trans anymore? They spent like months talking about Haitians eating dogs and pets. Now, I guarantee you they're going to move away from Somalia. Remember Somalia, Somalia, Somalia,
Yeah,
all past 2 weeks. Where are the
yeah.
Somalis now? Remember, there's a number one threat. The right wing keeps playing you all. So take a play from their playbook and just stick like a laser. Yes, there's economy, ICE, our allies. He's going to go after Greenland. We all get it, folks. You could juggle all those balls, but the one, like, how do you get the Death Star, right? You got to get that one laser shot in the Death Star with the weakness, and that's the Epstein files. They have no response to the Epstein files. It should be clear to everyone. This is the biggest cover up in modern history. That I don't know what's in the Epstein files. I'm going to go ahead and I think it's pretty clear. Most likely, Trump raped girls with Epstein. There are a lot of other powerful men who rape girls. There are a lot of powerful institutions that knew they raped girls and still gave them money. I think many powerful institutions, powerful people, and countries are going to be involved. Excuse me, which is why we need full transparency. So this is just us on a Sunday night. Thank you all for joining us, 2,300 people. For those who joined us a little bit late, we're going to have this up in about 30 minutes on my Substack, the Left Hook, and on Lev Substack. Before I promote myself, Lev, promote yourself, please.
Folks, yeah, I mean, right now, the most important thing I actually found out, which is very important, that in the algorithms that we deal with, it's very important for you guys, that if you can, to become paid subscribers, because the way the paid subscribers works is not only helps us as to be able to do this on a Sunday, on a Monday, to do this 24 hours, to do this, to be able to bring you this information, but also it's part of the way the algorithm works. If you understand the information we're bringing you, and if you think it's important enough that it needs to go, that's another way besides smashing those hearts, besides spreading the word, besides restacking messaging. A really big way of it becoming the messages being spread is by the more paid subscribers. And I found out this recently, another way of being able to be on top there where you see. So it's a crazy thing, but folks, we need your support. So please, if you can, independent journalism is number one. Subscribe to Waj, subscribe to me if you can, because we're here to bring you the truth and the information that you're not hearing, you're not seeing, and you won't hear on the main media until 6 months later, like the Wall Street Journal is now reporting on.
Yeah, and yeah, we try our best to keep on it. And Lev has his sources when he has a good source. So far, he's batting 100. When he says I don't know, he says I don't know. And I also get in trouble now, Lev. People are like, "Why are you talking to Lev? Do you know what he did?" And then I always I get these emails, and I'm like, "I'm not dumb. I never in a thousand years thought I would be talking to Lev. I know all the horrible, terrible things he's done in the past, but at the same time, he's gone to jail. At the same time, I do believe people change. I don't know what's in anyone's heart. I'm not God. I can only judge them based on their actions and their conduct and their behavior. But I've been talking to Lev for the past several months since the summer. And with me, he's always been straightforward and consistent. So for those people who say, Waj, why do you, I'm being, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm sure you get that.
No,
But
we get it
they're
all the
like,
time, and and watch, and I want to be honest to everybody out there, and I say to everybody, look, we might disagree on policies. Me and Waj, just because we're doing a show together, or because other people, this is one of the things about my platform. I want everybody to understand. I'm not here about policies. I'm not here. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist, and I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. I was part of the mega group. I was part of making mega. I was part of all of this destruction you're seeing. I have a lot on my conscience that I'm dealing with personally, working through with my family, with a lot of things that I'm trying to do good. For the past 6 years, those of you that have been following my mission, you've seen that I have been only speaking truth to power, to a major detriment to myself. I went to prison for a longer period of time than if I would have kept my shut mouth quiet. I went and testified in front of Congress under some crazy death threats. Till this day, I'm still under supervised release. So I'm not asking anybody to like me or forgive me for what I did. That's up to you. What I'm asking you right now is to listen to what I'm telling you, because right now I'm trying to save our democracy. Once we help save our democracy by getting normal people back in office, getting Donald Trump out, then we could go debate. I promise you, me and Waj will probably be debating and screaming about policies which we disagree on. And that's great, because that's what America's about. So I just want you to understand that, and what my mission is here. It's not about making friends. And that's why, a lot of people, you see what happened with Michael Cohen. I'm not here to make friends. Michael Cohen has some explaining to do. Until he does some explaining, and God bless, I will be the first one to apologize to Michael and say, hey, but until he does the explaining, until we come out here live, not on a back phone call like they want to do, but in front of you live, break it, because that's what I'm here. The truth, and I say that, Wash, to everybody, the truth doesn't have religion. The truth doesn't have a color. The truth doesn't have a political party. The truth is the truth for everybody, and we all deserve the truth. And that's why I'm on here on this platform. After we get that done, we could go back to disagreeing and agreeing. So, and me and
Yeah.
Waj agree on one thing.
Are you
We
still
don't want
pissed off at
fascism.
Are you still pissed off at the Midas guys, or did you guys make peace?
Oh no, we made peace. Me and Ben actually have been doing a show, and that's why I say this is a great example. I did not. I was pissed off and arguing because they weren't listening. Not because I don't had a personal vendetta against them or something. It was not personal. It was because we're trying to save our democracy. Well, a lot of people are risking their lives, literally like me, with certain sources to be able to break certain news. There's a lot of incredible independent journalists on this platform, like Ellie Leonard and others that are doing incredible work. And sometimes we don't realize we become a product of what we try to build against. And Ben realized that he saw your again, it was because of you guys. You guys came out, Ben and the Midas guys saw all the comments. They saw all the emails from all the subscribers out there that were calling him and saying, hey, Lev is right. He's not, I'm not trying to call division. We're trying to unify. And if you see right after that, me and Ben we've done 3 or 4 shows on Ukraine and stuff like that, and
Okay.
breaking news. So absolutely, I'm extremely, and say Midas Touch, great. And Ben said they are the leaders of independent journalism, and I said, so then be it, act it. Don't forget the little guys, and you have to platform everybody and not just certain cabal. And they listen, and that's why we're together. Michael Cohen, as I said, separate story that has nothing to do with the Epstein stuff. I mean, with the Midas guys. Michael Cohen, after certain things that transpired here, actually was on one of your shows where you and Ellie brought me up and we had a conversation. And I told you, Waj, I said, it's a bad look. What happened on Zev? I said, we need to get to bottom it. After that, I had more phone calls with other people and other things. And I said, and I had the call and I told Michael behind it, I said, look, Michael, you need to come out and you need to confront it and we need to put end to it. I did not like the response he gave me. The response he gave me was simple. He said, no, I'm not going to talk about it's going to die out. That does not work with me. When it comes to the Epstein files, when it comes to the survivors, folks, I have 3 daughters. I have I had a mother, may she rest in peace. I have an incredible sister. You guys know her. I have a wife that I love to death. And I'm just, and for all the women out there, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm there with you. I 100%. And I don't give a shit about anybody out there. I don't have until we release the files, until we get the survivors the justice that is due. And that's something that is on my agenda, and that's why I'm here. So, watch, for those that, I would tell them the same thing. It's not about liking me or hating me. Right now, it's like, use me. Just like I say with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You don't have to love me, use me to get rid of Donald Trump and then go back to hating me afterwards. But for now, we have to unite. We have to be all together to be able to stop Donald Trump. And when I say unite, that means everybody has to be truthful. We can't just have people coming in saying because they want to, be part of our platforms, agree on certain things, and then disappear, like the Michael Wolffs, for instance. He has a lot of explaining to do, just like Michael Cohen. Michael
Yeah,
Wolff has a
Michael
lot.
Michael Wolf has not responded to me. He
That's
praised
what I'm
me
saying to you.
publicly for bringing Upset Back Live. Thought it was amazing. Like, this is great. I said, all right, come back. And then as soon as it was
And,
released that he was
and
counseling Epstein, I was very polite and I said, hey, Michael, want to come back? No response.
And
Um,
Ellie did a major piece on him. Ellie Leonard actually looked into that, and with all of the, if you should speak to her, Waj. I mean, with all
oh
of
yeah,
the
no, I've had
emails.
Ellie on. Ellie
Oh, so
Ellie's on the Panicked Writer. She's fantastic.
yeah.
She's
I
been
mean,
through every single
fantastic. And
She's read through
and
every single published Epstein email and then wrote about it and categorized it. So she has one for
Wolf,
Michael
exactly.
Wolff. She has one for Landon Thomas, the New York Times writer. She has several for Steve Bannon. She's
And you
come
know what
on two
pisses
or
me
three
off more
times.
than anything? You know what pisses me off? And I'll be honest with you. And again, I will be the first one to apologize to Michael Wolff. But when you go out there and you put a GoFundMe together and you go raise there almost $1 million to go sue Melania Trump, really? You know what I'm saying? That's why I wanted to bring him up and have a conversation about that. I mean, the lawyers, like, and where is that? I mean, people, I went on that GoFundMe just to take a look at some of the comments because, it hurts me because, that takes away from real movements. People, really, and that's just bullshit. That needs to be investigated. That can't be just left alone. I mean, what lawsuit is going on? Where is he in the process of this lawsuit? Why was it where this, it just bothers
All,
me
all
of
I want is
taking.
this. I've said this to Michael each time I've talked to him twice. The first time I pushed him a little bit more. The second time I always bring it up, and I'll bring it up again. Michael has allegedly, according to him, over hundreds of hours of tapes that he recorded with Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein invited him, said, I want to have conversations. One of the tapes that was released, Jeffrey Epstein says Donald Trump was my closest friend. I have told Michael, why don't you just release this information? This seems like a gold mine. Michael says, I've tried. I've gone to everyone to release it. No one wants it. I don't buy that. And I've told him, I'll find you someone who will do a GoFundMe and get three kids who could like take all that information and put it on a website for you. We literally call it the Michael Wolf tapes. And then, we could put it on a website and they could categorize it for you and like organize it for you. So he could do it if he wants to do it. He chooses not to do it. And I feel like it's one of those things where Michael Wolff can release this information Woodward could have released the information that he had about Trump admitting that COVID was contagious, but he waited on that information to promote his book. And I think those days are over, folks. If you're one of these, old school New York, DC type journalists waiting for a scoop, F that. Be a patriot instead. Release the scoop. You'll find your money somehow. The money will
I
come
agree
to you,
with you.
but you'll get respect. You'll save lives. People want transparency, and it'll help you in the long run, right? But they wait for the little scoop. But at what cost? At what cost? So, if Michael, if you're listening, you got all the tapes, man. Release it. You need help? Talk to me. Talk to Ellie. Talk to Lev. Talk to Zev. We'll bring together a team. I'll put money in and I'll pay some young college students to help you. I'll put it up online and to categorize it. Just
We have a GoFundMe fund set up. We will pay as a community to put it out there. I mean, that's exactly what we have our funds to go to put together the infrastructure. Believe me, a platform that will be even as big as Midas or anything else. So listen, you're 100% right, Raj. People need to come out, accountability. Forget the little scoops. Forget the little. We are right now at a point that is very detrimental. I mean, and every day that goes by, this is a new year. And my motto this year, I'm tired of being reactive. We're going to be proactive. We're going to, enough talking. We're going to go and do the walking and the talking. So you're going to see me in Washington. We're going to be doing some shows live, and there's some things that I'm going to get you involved with that behind the scenes that we're going to have some fun getting our democracy back. But enough is enough. That's my motto for 2026. Enough is enough. It's time to take our democracy back. Enough talk. It's time for some action, folks.
Thanks all for watching. Nearly 2,500 people. I've been talking to Lev for the past hour and 10 minutes. We're going to have this conversation up on the Left Hook and Lev Remembers. There's no paywalls. Folks, I promised myself to get better at what I'm about to do, even though it pains me each and every single time, but this is just how the world works. Please like and subscribe. Subscribing is for free. The hearts go a long way. If you're watching on YouTube, the likes go a long way. Like on YouTube, like on Substack. I've kept everything free. I depend on donors and the kindness of strangers. Everything was $5 a month, but now I have, if you look, theleftook.substack.com/special, theleftook.substack.com/special. For the new year, I've extended my terrible capitalist holiday sale. So it's 25% off forever, which means if you sign up this month forever, it'll be $3.75 a month. I can't make it cheaper. I actually can make it a little bit cheaper, but I have kids. So if you don't have the money, I get it. At least subscribe. If you have 375, goes a long way. And tomorrow I have a fantastic lineup at 12 p.m. I'm joined by Danielle Moody, my co-host. At 1 p.m., Olivia Troy and Miles Taylor, who were part and parcel of the first Trump administration and then who left. They'll be on, and they were the ones who independently told me they both independently heard Stephen Miller dream about bombing Mexico. And now you've heard them about Mexico and Colombia. So we're going to bring them on, their national security experts, but also tell you how this has been a 10-year plan being effectuated right now. That'll be a very important conversation. Then at 2 p.m., a fantastic conversation where I have Gil Duran and Jacob Silverman. Both of them have been writing about the Broligarchy, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel. They're on together at the same time because another angle here is the Broligarchy that has been after Venezuela and Greenland, and as you know, has Trump's ear, and their chumcha, their spoon, is JD Vance, who's waiting. Oh, he's waiting. He can't wait for Donald Trump to go. But will MAGA accept him? I don't think so. Lev, remember, subscribe to him. This is the Left Hook. Thank you all for watching. For those who joined us late, this will be up in about an hour or so. Take care, be kind, rest, and please, oh please,
You
don't be a
you
fascist. And you go ahead.
you rest. Make sure you go get some rest because you have a full lineup tomorrow. I know you're not feeling good. Don't be a fascist, but Raj, get some rest and say
And
hi to Maya and Lydia.
release the Trump-Epstein files. Get on the Democrats. Take care. All right, Left. Take care.
Good night. Take care, guys.